Hello, and welcome to the Flying with Air Cosmetics Corner. Today, I actually want to teach you how to make a French pink clay mask that is really good for hydration, anti-aging, and a little bit of blemishes. I'm at that age where I'm fighting acne, but also trying to prevent any wrinkles and any fine lines on my skin. So I want to definitely make this mask for all of you guys that are in-betweens like me. I have a few great essential oils to combine with this mask, as well as the tools that I use in a general lab setting or even in a high-tech kitchen type of environment to be able to make this either at the Flying with Air stores or to be able to make it at home. So I'm going to get into a couple of the tools that I use whenever I'm using any type of mask, shampoos, conditioners, whatever I'm making. So as you can see here, I have a couple of aluminum bowls. These aluminum bowls are going to be good for mixing. And then also it's nice to have a few of these in the house or a few of these in the store, just because I like to mix my liquids with my liquids and my dries with dries. Additionally, you're going to see some of these beakers that I have around here. I've already pre-measured what I need for this particular mask. So because of that, they actually already have materials in them, but I'm going to actually put it all together with you guys, show you what the consistency should look like, the viscosity, and then how to correctly kind of blend these guys together. Some of the things that you're also going to see that you might not recognize at first are going to be some of these extra chemicals that I do have. That's because when it comes to skincare, the pH is very important. You want to keep it around 5.5 just to keep it very hydrated, but also not stripping the skin of its natural protecting. And then also you're going to see some of my cleaning tools that I like to keep just around just to make sure everything is nice and sanitized and clean. So as I get into here, I want to tell you, you're going to need a few things. So of course the aluminum bowls are good. If you don't have beakers, that's perfectly fine. I would say a measuring cup would work just as well, or I actually have a few of the dry measuring tools in teaspoons. If you're not good with converting, I definitely recommend going to Google, but if you're going to get into this long term, learn how to convert from the metric system to the American unit system, or otherwise known as milliliters, centimeters, all the way to tablespoons, cups, and gallons. Additionally, just to help with mixing today, I have my little whisk, and I have a spatula. It just helps with scooping things out whenever I go to put it in that final product here. I like to recycle jars, so even though I'm not going to make 4 fluid ounces today, I am going to use the jar that I have at home just because of convenience. So with that, let's get started. I want to show you the materials that we're actually putting in the mask now that you have all of your tools. These are going to include, right now, the pink clay mask that we have here. It's in powder format. We put these in stores, but we can make these for whatever you're needing. So whatever you want to do, as far as you can come into store with the DIY station, or if you're just wanting to order online, you can just say, how do I go about the pink clay mask, and adding the materials or the essential oils that I want for that. In our apothecary, we can actually make all sorts of things. We have a different video on that I can link in the bio that tells you everything we make under the sun, including soap, shampoos, conditioners, peels, everything you can think of. If it's a cosmetic for your hair or skin or body, it's gonna be here. So let's get into it. So I showed you the French pink clay mask. We're definitely going to need that as a base. I have rose oil, which is really good for essential hydration, as well as rosacea and redness. Lemongrass, that's going to help fight off some of that acne I have, that's hormonal. And then finally, I have chamomile. I chose chamomile for a couple of different reasons. It is a yin herb. I wanted to use it for inflammation and then also pain. I don't know if anyone out there has painful acne, but it really does help reduce that redness and that inflammation and pain. And then also, I want to use this mask right before bed to help me sleep. So it's all going to come together very nicely like that. So I do have an oil base over here. This is actually going to be our house oil that we have in stores. So it is a mix of some oils that you might recognize, like jojoba, sunflower, hemp. It also has moringa and apricot, just because I really enjoy it. So everything but the apricot is something that is in our general house oil, and the apricot I actually added. So you can order this by the gallon on our stores, or you can make your own, whatever you prefer. Just definitely use good resources and good materials for whatever you're making, because it is going on your body. So pay attention to that. All right. Next, I have a little bit of what's called hydrosol. The hydrosol I have here is Lang Lang. I chose Lang Lang just because it's a beautiful smell, like it's so pretty. And then also it's very light and it helps with aeration. So you don't get that cakey feeling in this mask. You get a very smooth type of finish. And then right here, I just have some filtered water. Each of these three, the hydrosol, the filtered water, and the house oil, I've actually gone ahead and used my Bunsen burner to be able to heat to 80 degrees Celsius. So let's go ahead and get started here. I am going to grab some of that French plate mask. If I can take this guy off here, I'm going to use the tablespoon. And then I'm not going to make much because I only have one face and I don't need that much, but just double your formula and pay attention to concentrations whenever you are making your own, if you're wanting to make a lot for many people. So, all righty, just shake that out a little bit. I'm going to put all of my dries into phase B right here. And I'm going to put all of my liquids into phase A, or aluminum A bowl, whatever you prefer. So I'm actually going to put 2 tablespoons right now. And the reason I'm going to do that is viscosity is going to be very important to me. So I'm going to go ahead. I actually have about 5 milliliters of the hydrosol here. And then I'm going to have about 10 of my house oil. And as you guys might have already noticed, oils and hydrosols don't mix. They don't love each other. So I'm just going to give that a nice little whirl. It is turning a little bit cloudy. The reason you want to actually have it heated is to be able to help blend those a little bit better, but you want to make sure that you get away from this cloudiness and into more of a clear consistency. Okay, so now it's starting to clear up a little bit. What I'm going to do is actually take what are these little cute mini pipettes. You can use any type of mini pipette or pipette in general. These are about 0.5, which is really great for essential oils. That way you don't overdo it. So I'm going to grab my essential oil here. I have learned the hard way not to take it directly from the dram, but to take it from these little pipettes. So as you can see here, just going to add a little bit of my oil here for rose. And then you definitely don't want to mix your pipettes. So I'm going to get a fresh one. I'm going to do the same thing for the lemongrass and for the chamomile. I really like the soothingness that comes with making these type of things. It's enjoyable both whenever you actually get there and then you have your finished product, and it's enjoyable for me when I'm actually making it. It's probably where I find my most meditation, to be honest with you. So, all right. So now I have all of my lovely little essential oils, and I'm gonna get back to mixing that. So now I'm starting to get this beautiful, like light, I wanna say like eggshell type color. And my mixing is definitely coming along with the reason that I heated it, which is that 80 degrees Celsius. I heated it for about 2 to 3 minutes at that. And then I actually broke one of my thermometers while I was doing it. So I had to grab a different thermometer to make sure it was the right temperature. That's a very beautiful consistency. What I'm gonna do now is actually add my phase A to my phase B. And this is actually a better job for my spatula than my whisk, because you really want to make sure you get all of it, or else you're going to have some proportion errors whenever you measured. So, alrighty, make sure I got it all, perfecto. And now I'm going to go back to whisking, and I really want to start putting this all together. And you're going to see there is some dryness. That's what our water is going to be with at the very end here, to be able to help bring it together. This is probably the longest part. It's just making sure you get all of that powder and all of that blend. If you like a very thick mask or a like heavy mask, like if you like to feel it on your skin, this is already perfect. You can add a preservative like tocopherols or mixed tocopherols, something of that nature to make it last a little bit longer. Since I'm actually going to use this today, I don't feel the need to actually put a preservative in it because it's going to be fresh. Why, right? So I'm going to add about 10 milliliters of my filtered water first. And now you can just kind of see how this consistency is changing. And I actually really love this consistency. Normally I would be wearing, you know, some vinyl gloves, but since this is for me, I feel like that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's a beautiful consistency. So I'm gonna stick with this. If you want something more liquidy, or less viscous, I should say, if you want to get really scientific with me, then just go ahead and add more of that filtered water. For me, 10 milliliters was perfect with the combination that I had together because I just think this is beautiful. So at this point, I'm going to get rid of my little whisk. I'm going to trade spots with my spatula. I'm going to grab my jar. So a couple things that you definitely want to do before you finish your product and actually put it in the jar. When you're in our DIY station at the stores, we've already done the measurements to make sure it's going to be safe for your skin on a pH level. But if you don't, come to our stores, or if you're doing this at home, you definitely want to invest in some type of pH meter. This is one that I find a lot useful for different types of liquids. This is not the ideal one, but it will actually take measurement for me. So I can see here, gotta calibrate my little guy. And I'm getting about a 5.7. So with that, that is absolutely perfect for what my needs are. Again, skincare, we want to keep around that 5.5. So right now I am just sanitizing my meter and I am good to go as far as my mask goes. A lot of masks are easy. Whenever it comes to pH, you're gonna really need to pay attention to that if you are making, let's say, a glycolic peel or a lactic acid peel. Things are like heavier in base, or not base, acid. Things that are heavier in acid. So this overall is probably about a 1.5 ounce mask for me, which means I'll probably get maybe, I would say like 2 to 3 uses out of this mask. So I might use this a couple times this week. If you don't add any preservatives to your mask, you can probably get away with it for about, I'd say 14 days and you'll be good. After 14 days, you're kind of pushing it. And then also, if that's the case, I would actually put it in the refrigerator if I'm going to do it that way. So I'm doing my favorite part now. I'm making messes. So right there, it smells a little bit more like rose and chamomile than it does the lemongrass. And if you guys aren't familiar with the different scents of the rose, lemongrass, and chamomile is like very relaxing. You're gonna get more of a shrub, flower type of smell. Roses, very, very floral. Lemongrass to me smells like Fruit Loops. So I absolutely love lemongrass oil. When it's a actual grass or a plant, it doesn't have that same scent. So it's very interesting how that's different. Let's say my pH was different based off of like my consistency. Remember, we're going for that 5.5. Then if it was over that, like let's say for some reason it was in the 11s, then I would want to do pH down in very low doses. This is very powerful. And then if it was too far down, like it sometimes happens with acid peels, I'm going to want to make it more alkaline or bring up the pH. So that's what that is about. All right, guys. So here we go. Enjoy your pink mask. I know I will.